Coming up, high winds and heavy rain hitting California have prompted the governor to issue a state of emergency.
And Kern County is bracing for this storm. We've got a live look coming up.
And with all this rainfall, we'll have an update on California's snowpack, find out where it's at and who it potentially benefits.
Live from Kern County's streaming news leader, this is 23 ABC News at 6, and it starts now.
Good morning, and thank you for starting your day with us here on 23 ABC News at 6. I'm Callan Hobman.
And I'm Mike Hart. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Bring in Brian Gallo and get a first check at where we are headed today. Because if you're just waking up, I know you're hearing the creaking and the swaying of the trees outside.
Busy.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. There you have it. We are officially on storm watch. You just saw Veronica getting pummeled out there. I've got a wobbly cam here. We are still seeing gusty conditions. And get prepared, everybody. We saw these winds really begin to move through yesterday, caused quite some havoc, and it will continue to. We're seeing 15 to 30 mile per hour gusts here on the valley floor, upwards of 60 for high wind prone areas. We're going to see rain well into the evening tonight, but by about, say, 10 p.m., 11 tonight, we'll see things really start to wrap up, and it'll be a beautiful day tomorrow. Watches and warnings, though, handfuls of them really affecting all of us here in California. You can see this is going to be moving through fairly quickly, and then by tomorrow we will clear out. I have a lot to cover as far as satellite radar for you coming up in your full weather. But notice this, as we move through tomorrow, as I said, things will clear out, and then we're going to welcome in even more moisture. Notice Saturday into Sunday, we're going to see this atmospheric river is relentless, continuing to bring just a lot of rain for us. Here's some numbers at this hour. These are our forecasted highs, believe it or not, given the time of year. This is what we should be seeing at 4 p.m. in the evening or afternoon, if you will. So these are our numbers right now. 30s for Lockwood Valley. And here's your forecasted highs. About a 3-degree difference, everyone. That rain chance is with us, as I mentioned, well into next week. I've got a lot more for you coming up in a bit, but we have to check in with you're such a champ. You're my hero. How you doing out there, Veronica?
Brian, it's like a game out here. We are literally pushing ourselves against this wind in order to stay standing right here. So the National Weather Service has declared that it is dangerous, very extremely dangerous to be traveling through the Grapevine. It is highly discouraged. As you can see, there are still some vehicles making their way through this area. It's not heavy, but again, even for these small vehicles, it's very dangerous. This wind is so strong. Those coming down the Grapevine into Bakersfield, heading north, you can see on the down ramp, we're seeing trucks as they come down. I'm sure they're trying to slow down, but they must be getting pushed by this wind. It is so intense out here. It's already been raining and it's continuing to pick up. I'm sure this rain's going to be hitting Bakersfield very quickly, very soon. And with these winds, it just feels like you're getting pelted by shards of ice almost. So if you have any plans to travel today, please be extremely careful. If you're making your way through any mountain passes up through the Grapevine, be very watchful and mindful of these slick roads. If you're planning on heading up to 178, we're expecting wind speeds of upwards 70 miles an hour, even stronger than what we're seeing out here right now. And with the canyon and rock slides, it can be extremely dangerous. So once again, we're monitoring this storm as it's making its way through Kern County. We'll be keeping you updated all morning long. We'll send it back to you in studio. For 23 ABC News, I'm Veronica Morley, connecting you.
Okay, Veronica, definitely stay safe out there. And if you are having to hit the road this morning, let's get a check of traffic with CHP Officer Tomas Martinez.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. So our roadways are looking pretty good here through the Bakersfield area. We are dealing with some windy conditions, so just keep in mind if you're going to be headed out for your morning commute, just please reduce your speed and make sure you create a bigger distance, a following distance from other vehicles. One of the main reasons for these crashes around these times are the unsafe speed and following too close. So just make sure you have a good couple car lengths ahead of a separation from other vehicles around you, and just be careful. If anybody's headed out of there, all major roadways are open, but we still have those closures in effect over in those higher elevations of Fraser Park. So just please be mindful. And there are still those wind advisories through Tehachapi and the Grapevine. So make sure you watch the speed this morning and drive safe. That's my look at traffic. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Tomas, thank you very much. As another winter storm sweeps across the Golden State, the governor issuing a state of emergency. As stated in a tweet from the governor's office, the state of emergency has been issued to, quote, support response and recovery efforts. This proclamation will allow the state to respond quickly as the storm develops and support locals in their ongoing response, end quote. Meantime, state officials are reminding you about ways you can stay safe out there.
Stay informed. Sign up for emergency alerts from your county. Have a family emergency plan and know your emergency evacuation routes. Check on family members and neighbors. And always follow the direction of your local authorities. If you are told to evacuate, please do so immediately.
Officials in Duarte issued a yellow alert Wednesday, urging people there to have a plan if roads close. The city in Los Angeles County is trying to prevent flooding, putting up barriers as a precaution.
Well, we put up tarps around the house, too, because the rain gutters came down. So that's a lot of rain that comes down.
And rain from the latest storm, this atmospheric river that we've been talking about. Look what it's doing up in the Bay Area, Northern California. Last night, widespread flooding, mudslides, big time traffic issues. In one case right here, a man was pulled to safety by fire crews from the Los Gatos Creek. And in San Francisco, those strong winds are being blamed for knocking down this roof over a gas station. You can see it's toppled onto its side, but thankfully no fire or explosion as a result.
And along the Central Coast in Ventura County, officials are telling people to stay home during the storm if possible.
Most things, if you don't have to be out in the rain, don't be out in the rain. Don't go out of curiosity and start looking for where there might be floods. That's typically when people get into difficulty.
The Ventura Pier is closed through at least tomorrow. The National Weather Service says the surf forecast through Friday could damage the pier and flood roads along the coast. At Channel Islands National Park, officials say the waves there will range between 15 to 22 feet.
And approximately 200 kids in the Bay Area had to be evacuated from a science camp in Boulder Creek that's just located near Santa Cruz. The kids were sent back home on Wednesday due to concerns that the small bridge that actually leads to the camp, located over the San Lorenzo River, could potentially collapse due to the storm's impact. Now, we wanted to go in depth a little bit here and find out what you need in the event that you're told to evacuate and leave your home. Some things to consider according to ready.gov. First thing you need to do if you're told to evacuate is download the FEMA app. In fact, do it today. It's got a list of all shelters that are in your local area. Take your pets with you. Understand, though, that only service animals may be allowed in some public shelters. If time allows, call or email family and friends. Tell them you're leaving and where you're going. Unplug electrical equipment before you leave the house and secure your home by, of course, closing and locking all doors and windows. And then follow the recommended evacuation routes. They say avoid shortcuts you might be familiar with. Follow the evacuation routes because you never know about any potential closure of roads and hazards out there.
On a positive note, the storms are helping the California snowpack start off strong, raising possible hopes for water resources throughout the drought-stricken state.
But for farmers, those high numbers might not translate into more water for them. 23 ABC's Veronica Morley explains.
The amount of snow found high up in the Sierra Nevada mountains has a direct impact on the fields of crops down below.
We just do what we got to do to be able to survive.
Jason Gianelli grew up in the farm life, growing everything from corn to carrots to almonds, so he understands this.
They help with our crops right now. They help with future crops in the summertime. We do future planning all the time on how many acres we can farm, how many acres we can't farm.
After heavy winter storms, the Department of Water Resources surveys the snowpack. This year's survey reported 174% of its historic average for the year, the third largest in nearly 4 decades.
They give us kind of a measurement of where we are in our water year.
But even with several days of rain and storms, Gianelli says that doesn't necessarily mean good news for his farms.
In this basin alone, we're supposed to get close to 1 million acre feet, and we only got 5% of that.
We might see, these rainy days and clouds, and we might see lots of puddles in our own backyard, but it's still up to the state to tell us our allocation and how much water we're able to get.
Like last year, we had to fallow ground, we had to do different things, we couldn't grow as much corn, so we had to come up with different ways of looking at things and that don't take as much water, so our cropping patterns will just have to change.
Even if the final snow survey in April reports a higher percentage.
Farming is still been given just our, bare minimum allocation that we've received so far, and that hasn't changed.
That 5% water allocation results in higher costs trickling throughout the industry.
Like we've put in investments of pivots, we've put in investments of drip, we've put in investments of other things, and how we run water, how we use water, see how we can maximize our dollars of how much water we're getting and maximize our water usage.
Impacting availability and prices of certain foods. For 23 ABC News, I'm Veronica Morley, connecting you.
All right, still have a lot to do coming up. If you've been shopping for a car since the pandemic, you've seen a little change out there. We'll tell you what experts say is causing a big drop when it comes to car sales. That's next.